Hey everyone, so welcome back to My Rising Rose, where we open ourselves up to the cosmic family and reconnect with the dragons and deities and all of those big mystical beings and experiences while remaining grounded and ordinary in our humanity. And today, what I'd like to talk about is authenticity, and I'd like to talk about it myself and then bring through Sandasan, who is the white heavenly dragon of the Rising Rose, and I'll bring her through to help talk a little bit about authenticity. So I've got an interview coming up with my friend Emilio Ortiz at the Just Tap In podcast, and that'll be out on the next eclipse, actually, on the 29th of March. We recorded it on the total lunar eclipse on the 14th of March, and we're releasing it on the partial solar eclipse on the 29th, which feels like it's very, I don't know, it feels very in sync to be doing it that way. And yeah, I think that's going to be exciting. It was a fantastic conversation that we had. I think just speaking from my own personal experience, it's one of the most like powerful and deep interviews that I've ever done with someone. And in that interview, I channeled the white dragon, Sandasan. And Emilio and I are also collaborating on something which connects to authenticity, which I think he will be talking about more in detail, so I won't say anything here. But authenticity is a topic which I think is coming up for a lot of people right now, in part because we've got so many planets in Aries, and Aries, to my mind, is like the sign of authenticity. But just to do a bit of housekeeping before I jump right into it, we've got the final, possibly ever, live Dragon Medicine, which will be launching on the 23rd of April. That's where Group 3, which is the final group, enters the upper chakra dragons, which is the final group of dragons. We've been running Dragon Medicine since June last year. It's been amazing, and we're reaching the end. So this is the last opportunity to join the live. There's going to be a couple of things that we're going to figure out going forward, but one of the reasons why this is possibly the last time that we'll do it live is because we're shifting from the dragons to the goddesses, specifically the enlightened goddesses of the dark. So that's Hela, Kali, the Morrigan, and Sekhmet. So there'll be lots more to follow about that, and I'll keep you updated here on this channel. But just to let you know that that opportunity is there, and you can find out about it in the description below. So authenticity, it's a really interesting topic. It's a really deep topic. There's loads of areas that you can come at authenticity from. When you really dive into the topic of authenticity, it becomes something truly spiritually transformative. So I'm just going to share my own interpretation. There are many, many other interpretations out there. You just pick the ones that resonate most with you. But for me, like, I've really struggled with authenticity throughout my life. It's something I've had to put a lot of conscious effort into. And obviously something that's still ongoing. I'm not trying to sit here and say like I'm fully authentic, because that is a really inauthentic thing to say. That would be like sitting here and going, I am perfect. All you have to do is be like me, and then all your problems will disappear, and there's lots of people out there who talk like that. And to me, I'm like, whoa, the spiritual scene is at times very inauthentic. But so perfection, human perfection is not possible. Like, that's, for a start, that's a really subjective thing, because perfection for one person would be different to perfection for another person. So which one's right? That's subjective. But just like the belief that we can actually be authentic, or like trying to act like, and sorry, the belief that we can be perfect or trying to act like we are perfect is just deeply inauthentic, because imperfection is a part of the human experience. So accepting that is a really significant step forward toward authenticity. Um, and sometimes like I've come across stuff which is about authenticity, and it's pretty like hardcore. It's kind of like you just sort of have to force yourself to become authentic. You have to monitor yourself all the time, and then like kind of push really hard to become authentic. And like, there's a time and a place for self-reflection and self-analysis, and having drive to push through our fears. But too much of that can be really damaging. Like that can be really harsh thing to do to ourselves. So for me, my own journey of authenticity, it's included some of that stuff where it's, being really honest with myself about who and what I am. Like that's always going to be a really essential part of authenticity. Like we have to have the humility to see ourselves and be like, I kind of screwed up today, or I really said something there that I shouldn't have said. I didn't have the right to say that. Or, wow, like there's a part of me that actually like really enjoys drama. Like that was one of my big like discoveries recently. Like I've known for quite a while that there's a part of me that enjoys drama, like emotional drama and drama in relationships and stuff. And that I will create that to get that kind of fix, like that drama fix. But I just kind of realized it more deeply recently, and could feel, I was going to say exactly where it's coming from. That's not quite what I mean, but I could feel within my own past where that wounding came from, because it is a wounding. That it's a lot connected to my family, a lot connected to pretty serious traumatic events that happened in childhood. And just the neglect that I experienced in childhood. Like one of the few ways for me and my siblings to get real attention was to become very dramatic. And I can now remember times where I was like that, and then I got the attention that I so desperately needed. And I remember feeling like this joy and satisfaction from that, but also a kind of shadowy satisfaction, like a kind of, haha, I have power over you, that kind of feeling. So I have to be honest with myself about that, and I'm sharing this with you because I don't want to talk about this stuff and be like, oh, people in the spiritual scene aren't authentic, and then not actually just mention some of the things that I've been through, like in this journey of authenticity. Like if you follow this channel for a while, you'll know that like I really don't want to be one of those people who pretends to be something that I'm not. I'm really tired of that. It's exhausting, it's exhausting trying to keep up a mask like that. And for me, I just want to be as authentic as I can. That doesn't mean that I overshare as well, because sometimes people associate authenticity with oversharing. Like, oh, if I just tell everybody everything that's going on inside of me, especially the sort of deeper, darker secrets, that's what authenticity looks like. And it's like, well, no, like not necessarily. There's a time and a place to share things. You can be really, really authentic within yourself, and like really be aware of all of these different things going on inside of yourself, and have the humility to meet that, step by step. It doesn't have to all be in a day or anything. Just kind of a general attitude of self-awareness and humility. And be like, oh Christ, like I didn't realize that's how I think and feel really deep down. That takes humility to see that. It's not all light, and what is it, love and light, that's what everybody says. It's not all love and light and like rainbows and unicorns. There's a deeper, darker, more primal and shadowy dimension of who we are, and having the humility to meet that side of ourselves actually does a lot of good for our psyches. So long as it's done correctly. You don't want to just kind of jump in there immediately. So authenticity, right? How do you do that? What is that? Well, authenticity is it's an ongoing process. So it's not something that you just get. It's not like an all or nothing thing. It's an ongoing process. It's an unfolding. So it's just like, I like the image of a rosebud. That's kind of, you could say that's like our inauthentic self. Like when we put on a lot of social masks to hide who we really are, where we deceive ourselves about who we really are because we need that for our own sense of safety. And then what can happen is it starts to kind of unfurl over time, and it starts to open up, and then our true self, our authentic self, starts kind of being visible to ourselves and to others. And we can kind of like add something really wonderful to the world through that. But one of the things that I really want to emphasize in this video is that it's understandable that we are inauthentic. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot in our personal lives. Our family has been through a lot, and we've inherited a lot from our family. Our ancestors have been through a lot, and we've inherited a lot from them. And then the collective has been through a lot, and we've inherited a lot from the collective. So please don't step into a place where you're blaming yourself if you feel that you're not being authentic, because I can guarantee you that there are legitimate reasons why you're not being authentic. And most likely that's rooted in some kind of injury, something bad happening, like something I've discovered in myself. Like I had a lot of fear about sharing myself publicly. And I still have fear about being the center of attention. It's a lot easier for me online because my body is actually alone right now, even though I'm, talking to all of you. My body is alone and knows that. So I have this sense of safety. When I'm around more people physically, and then the attention is on me, a fear comes up in my body. I feel in danger. And like this happened yesterday when I went to buy some clothes and everybody was looking at me. It was like 3 people, but like there was this moment of panic that I could feel. And I can look at this lifetime and I can see things that happened where, I won't go into all the details, but, there's being the center of attention could lead to harmful consequences. So there's like fear in my body from that. But something that I've discovered more on the spiritual dimension is that I can remember the times of the witch trials, and the fear is still in my body around that. I had a vision of myself as a child watching some of the horrendous events that happened. And of course, whether that we experienced that directly or whether we witnessed it, whether that memory is absolutely 100% true or whether it's just kind of like some kind of collective memory, whatever it may be, like with all this past life stuff, I don't feel like it has to be absolutely perfect. And personally, I don't derive much of an identity from past life stuff. But there's useful information there. And that's the key, is like the useful information. So for me, what I realized was that there's this terror in my body around being authentic because I have the memory of authenticity leading to serious harm in my body. It's just stored in my body. So I've done a lot of work on that, and like I've released lots of different things, but that's not completely over. And so something with this, right? If we're looking at inauthenticity, then the reason that we're inauthentic is because there's memories of things like that within our bodies. And it's like something foreign almost has kind of come in, and it's obstructing the true expression of our authenticity, because in this case because we're afraid to, because if we do that, we fear consequences, because there's evidence to suggest that that's true, right? So for me, trying to force somebody into authenticity is a really cruel thing to do, because you're ignoring, oftentimes, you're ignoring all of that stuff. And for me, authenticity is present within every single human being. Like, everybody is who they are, right? So the question isn't really whether people are authentic or not. The question is, what is it that's obstructing the natural unfolding of that authenticity? And in my opinion, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be some kind of traumatic event that's stored in the body as a constricted energy. So what's the solution? I like the relaxed approach. Like, by relaxing our bodies, we can start to let go. And as we start to let go of the things that are blocking our authenticity, it gives the space for us to really be ourselves. And I like this approach because it's gentle, it's respectful, it appreciates the way that inauthenticity developed, and gives a solution that gradually, step by step, allows the revealing of real authenticity. Now, kind of how do you practice that? Well, there's obviously there could be thousands of ways to do that. I'm going to bring through Sandasan in a few moments so that she can give us some advice. But if this is something that you're concerned about in yourself, then my advice really is just to go step by step and go easy on yourself. Like, you don't have to force yourself into this. And the right things will show up for you at the right times. Just relax and stay curious, and things will open up for you. As I mentioned, Amelia and I we put something together to help with that, which he'll be talking about more over the coming couple of months. So that's something more practical that can help. I'll be doing work on that as well, and within the goddess work that's coming up, because that's obviously, if you're familiar with the goddesses of the enlightened dark, you know that they are super authentic and really big on giving us our power back. But for now, I'm going to channel Sandasan for you so that she can bring through something a little more soothing, more of like a soothing, light, heavenly energy to give a bit of rest to our nervous systems. We're still in the eclipse portal if you're watching this at the time that I recorded it. And it's a time where we really, really can welcome rest. And also a time when authenticity starts to bloom back up in us. The troubling events of the eclipse are very effective at revealing our inauthenticity and helping us to move through it eventually. So I'll bring through Sandasan now. Yanalaishturu. Yanalayun. Yanalaishturu. Yanalayun. Nalayanuru. Yanalayun. Yanalayun. Naluna. Shinoru. So I'm just tuning my consciousness in. If you've been here before, you know that it takes a moment for me to tune myself in. What I'm doing is kind of aligning the satellite dish of Jack's energy field to my frequencies so that I can flow in. It's just taking me a moment to do that. There's a little more energy moving through him and through the energy of Berlin that he's in at the moment. So let's just take a second to let this settle. I am Llian Deishan. Llian. If you're familiar with the Welsh language or some of the old English languages, you might recognize these sounds. Llian. Otherwise, don't worry. You don't have to memorize it. You can simply know me as the white dragon of the rising rose, or the white heavenly dragon. I am part of a symbiotic relationship with Gorkureth, the black dragon of the rising rose, the black dragon of the underworld. He and I are one. We are, if you like, husband and wife. We are unified. I say this because as I do so, the depths of the underworld open up beneath Jack's body. You may be able to feel that, and that's a good thing. It creates a unity between myself in the heavens above that you may also be able to feel in Jack's body. It feels like almost like this kind of very softly falling liquid light, like this softly falling liquid light from above just coming down. And then as I call in Gorkureth, there's this opening below that feels really deep and rich and even like a little bit intimidating, and that's okay. It's allowed to be a little bit intimidating. Your bodies generally aren't familiar with that territory, but what Jack's found over time is that connecting with the underworld actually becomes more and more this incredibly wonderful, beautiful, and empowering place. So I'm flowing down the heavenly energy from above. Gorkureth is opening this great chasm below, and together we are united as the white and the black dragon of the rising rose. So I'm here to help you with authenticity. Jack did a beautiful introduction talking about kind of what authenticity is and what inauthenticity is, a little bit about the origins of inauthenticity, that it's completely understandable and that you haven't done anything wrong. This isn't about blaming. Also that being fully authentic isn't actually possible. That what would that even mean? It's more that authenticity is unfurling. So continuously unfurling, and infinitely so. Infinitely so. You are always going to discover new things about yourself. There are always going to be new revelations. You know, you do not fully know yourself, so you cannot fully express yourself authentically. And you will never fully know yourself. I do not fully know myself. And the great masters of spirituality within human history also did not fully know themselves. They were constantly going on a journey of evolution. To believe that you have reached some kind of utter end point is an act of inauthenticity. Because what does that even mean? Why would the cosmos, all of life, suddenly stop evolving in one person? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. There must be a continual unfolding of the entire cosmos at all times. It is constantly moving. It's like the surface of the ocean. So, you know, you couldn't put your finger on the surface of the ocean and just make it stop. like make it stop. What would that even mean? Like, for that to happen, all waves would have to stop. You know, it's like, it doesn't make sense. So don't buy into these ideas of perfection, because they're born generally out of fear. They're born out of the fear of change, the fear of the unknown. Because as you evolve, you're obviously moving deeper and deeper into the unknown. And that's where you discover more and more of yourself. within that unknown, right? But you do not fully know yourself. Nobody does. I do not. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Wouldn't it be awful to fully know yourself? That would just mean that nothing would ever change. That would be a terrible place. So embrace the reality, and thankfully it is a reality, that change is permanent. It's that funny thing. Impermanence is permanent. It will everything is always going to change. That's one of the things that you can count on. So just accept that. I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but accept that. And then really what I want to extend, and I'm doing it through my energy as I'm speaking, is a sense of peace. Like a peace with this. To be at peace with the changing of reality. To be at peace with the continual unfoldment of who you are and of your own authenticity. And as you realize more deeply who you are, sometimes things will come up that you don't like. There's going to be lots of things that you don't like about yourself. And some of those things will be true. Most of them won't. A lot of those things won't be true. But they will be true in the sense that you believe them about yourself. So, Jack's had some revelations recently about realizing that he thinks he isn't worthy of love. That the only way for him to get love is to give his power away. And, he's someone who's been working on this for a long time and has had many revelations about these things, and then discovered a deeper kind of, a deeper core to that wound, right? Which allows some of it to release, but not all of it. Jack's teacher, Fran, was a highly accomplished spiritual master, really, who studied with many highly accomplished spiritual masters for well over 20 years. And one of the things that she reflected on all of these different spiritual masters was that they all had blind spots. They all had things within themselves that they didn't realize, things which weren't good. And she owned up to that in herself, that she was also like this. And it's much better to be authentic about your own imperfections than it is to try to pretend to not be that way. There's a peace in that. It's like, I don't have to pretend anymore. What a relief. Could it be that even with these things that I think of as these qualities that I have that I think make me not good enough, even with them, I'm still enough. I'm still who I need to be. I'm still welcome in this world. I'm still allowed to be here. In fact, I'm loved, even with all of these things. And dare I say it, there are beings out there who will love you even more with your imperfections, because they give you a vulnerability. They give you a place of evolution. They are signs of your strength and your courage. I am one of those beings. I love and respect humanity with all of its imperfections, and let's face it, humanity as a whole has plenty. Look at the world, there's plenty of imperfections around. They're clearly on display. But that doesn't mean that humanity is not loved. Humanity has been kept in the dark for a long time and has been carrying many heavy burdens on behalf of this galaxy and this cosmos. As an agent of this cosmos, I am grateful. And what you might look around, when you look around you at the world, you might be in despair or feel angry, whatever it may be, and that's understandable. For me, what I see is the evidence of humanity's courage. And I see that in all of you, including the leaders who it's all too easy to point the finger at and judge. I see the deeper purpose and have profound respect for them, for you, for humanity as a whole. It's easier for me to say that because I have context. I have an awareness of humanity's history. I am aware of humanity's fall and humanity's eventual return, and it's not that far away. For some of you, it's already happened. But for humanity as a whole, it's on the way. So I respect you all as members of my family. And I want you to take that into your heart the next time that you feel that you're being inauthentic. In some ways, authenticity is a kind of imperfection, or inauthenticity is a kind of imperfection. You know, if you could kind of click your fingers and just be 100% authentic, that generally would be better. But that's not reality. And you're going on your journey through this life. So really, my main message for you in this video is just to relax. You're allowed to be inauthentic. You're doing your best. Relax. There are reasons why you have had to develop these patterns of inauthenticity. That's okay. I understand. It's allowed. You're allowed to be imperfect. You are loved, including your imperfections, including your inauthenticity. To see your inauthenticity and love yourself anyway is an act of profound authenticity, which is a little bit like the Divine Comedy. It can be funny. It's like there's a cosmic joke at play here. So give yourself the time and the space that you need. Jack and some of the beings that he brings through are going to help more with this as the days, weeks and months roll on. But for now, I will say goodbye to you and wish you the best in this journey of relaxation into authenticity.